The Confessions of St. Augustine, a 21st century on the road. But we don't want to dwell on middle age too much. We'll all get there soon enough. The salad days of youth were always more fun anyway. I mean like adventure. Yeah, action. The Renaissance man, and I'm really a handsome rascal. Yeah, people have been telling me that all my life. And women really do go for me. It sounds awful, I know, but I can't help it. And I get real vain sometimes. Like I just look in the mirror and I'm done for. And I hate it when I get like that. But I do it. And then before I know it, I love it. God, I love it. And sometimes I think if I get too vain, something will happen. Like I'll get cancer of the nose and they'll have to lob it off. Or some car will run over the face and leave the tread marks all over. And it's not easy having a good face. And I mean, who are you when you start acting like the people you're with even, or even the people you're thinking about, or even reading about? Like when I see a Brando movie, I mumble a lot afterwards. Or when I read someone like Twain, for example, I get real folksy. Or when I start thinking about old Holden, I get slangy. I mean, even slangier than usual, and call everybody old somebody. And when I read Osborne, I get angry because it's a man of action. Yeah, that's it. Adventure. That's why I decided to leave. Because you see, to sum it up for you in the least confusing way possible, all that happened before this cop thing this morning, after taking up Riker's offer, was that I'd been getting stoned. Interrupted briefly by these part-time jobs, working in a small zoo, feeding reptiles, and going from there to this job at the Left Bank restaurant where I worked as a roll boy. Because the chances of getting free food, except the appetite, suffered a little from the afterthoughts of the other job. And anyway, after a while, the restaurant crew began to annoy me just about as much anyway. A Pierre Short, who didn't fit his name, and continually reminded us of it by means of a few very terrible puns. Then a few nondescript waiter types, all named Pierre, plus a few who had obviously been called, usually quite intolerant of fledglings like me, and also named Pierre. And last, the Pierres that are often too friendly but fit the name, and as you can see, really are helpful because as you can also see, there's a real sense of belonging in the restaurant business, and a sense of one's place is expected. In my case, a little groveling or some variation, and so I've stayed stoned actually. Except I was still reminded of it all by my rank insignia, a cook's hat of all things, the custom in the world of pots and pans. You see, for the head Pierre to wear his hat at the highest possible elevation, while all those under him in order of rank wear theirs at a corresponding level. I'm not sure which looked worse, Pierre's number ones, which looked as though it were being held up by some kind of Denny dimwit parietal lobe, or the pizza pie they flopped on top of mine. But hell, I didn't care. Just pop another and the kitchen was one world and the dining room another. Like the frying pan and the fire, they told me. Like they made it up. Because I was to serve rolls that I didn't cook, to customers who thought I was the cook. Eh? Well, when'd you cook it, Pierre? Ha-ha, last week? Yeah, Pierre. Hey, all you have is pecan rolls? What happened to those popovers? Yeah, Pear. Ha-ha. What happened to all those gooby peacocks? All you guys pop-oders. How this type got in the door or even found the door, I don't know. Unless those other Pierres had something to do with it. And anyway, you pop another, and anyway, I was fired for some reason, so Smedley and I were on the road after this run-in with the police looking for the simple life, which reminds me I'm supposed to tell you something about that simple something. You see, it was after the jobs the days really started dragging, and Smedley's inertia began to try my patience, and I began to consider going out to St. Louis first, and then out west, and my brother. And I mean, Smedley's okay, but no purpose behind his creativity, just a marking time. As though time made no claims. You see, even though my life had been apparently a waste, I secretly harbored a belief that God, if there was a God, would take care of all that, while secretly harboring a bitterness that he hadn't done a very good job of it so far. Smedley wasn't so ambivalent. His religion was his music, and he made no pretense in believing any higher order than himself, which wasn't much. To be continued. The Confessions of St. Augustine. Now available on Amazon.com.